So, and of course, Justice Lee, we've got 2 more meetings while you're still the liaison, and that'll give us an opportunity to meet whoever else is going to be assigned the role of liaison and help do an orientation as such. Okay, and so delighted about that. And so, while we're waiting, Dana, by my count, we have 6 of the 10. We have a quorum. And so we can conduct business. And so you have the agenda. First off, Dana and Noel and Anne Louise, thank you for your incredibly great work in preparing the agenda. As always, it's very detailed. And I know that you put a great deal of time and effort into it. And so we extend our thanks to your hard effort. Okay. And so let's turn to the agenda then. As regards to my report, I'm going to wait as we get to some specific items that I'm going to chime in with on a couple of things, particularly the workshop, et cetera. And so the first item of business is this. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, all those in favor, I'm going to just say raise your hand so we can visually see it. Okay. Okay, all right. The minutes as presented have been approved. I'm always curious about the statistics, and the one statistics that has basically stayed the same. And I didn't know with the passage of time if in fact that statistic would change, and that is from the last time in person has been 61%, which surprises me a little bit. And the video conference is right at 20%. And so I'm not seeing any shift. It's not like there's been this rush of, 50, 60, 70, 80%. Obviously, 20% is a significant number. And so Dana is showing that now, particularly that one that talks about online. If you can find it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. Here we go, right here. Yeah. And so I believe from my recollection and looking back is that has been about the same. Of course, there's a hybrid in person and video. If you count in the other 13%, 20, that's 33%, and video and phone, then we're getting into that 36%. And so at least it has stayed steady, because I know a number of mediators have said, hey, I'm just doing Zoom. And so, and it's been a great assistance to all of us. But anyway, that's the one statistic that I found very interesting. And so in addition then, we need to congratulate Lori Reed. She's not with us, but Marcus, your congratulations on your reappointment. We applaud you. And so we look forward to working with you again this year. And so the committee assignments, y'all have done such a great job in your committees. I saw no reason to make any changes. And so those committee assignments, as you know, have stayed the same. And so I look forward to, in my last year as chair and on the commission, into working with each one of you. I know that I intend to have some other informal planning meetings with each one of you as we go forward in this year. And so in any event, Dana, let me turn it over to you then. The AOC staff report, if you'll give that, please.
Okay, so I wanted to let you know we are at the end of 2022, which means we are working towards our renewals for 2023. As of December 31st, we had 1,321 mediators who were active and listed with us under the commission. The deadline was, of course, December 31st. So as of today, we have 819 mediators who have renewed. We are missing 502 from the active mediator list. So we have an extension, of course, with a late fee, and that extension is March 31st. So I call it the absolutely end, drop dead. Last time to renew is March 31st. So I think these are good numbers. Of course, obviously we're way past 50%, but things are going well with that. If they want to renew, they have from now to March 31st. It will be a $50 late fee, and they can do that, of course, online or mail by check.
And of course, Dana, just I know we have individuals watching us too, is that the one consequence of not getting that done by March 31st then is that the listing lapses and they have to go back and redo the training then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then I would report out on the online dispute resolution pilot project that was discussed earlier. Currently, the committee, we have a standing committee, and we meet every 2 Thursdays, every other Thursday. And at this time, we are waiting for, with the contractor, with our vendor who does the IT for the platform, they, during the course of the last few months, the committee came up with some what we call IT bugs, some fixes that needed to happen, as well as some improvements, because we're kind of ready to begin the second phase. But a big part of that is getting these fixes into the platform. We are in what they call the work queue. The vendor has a queue, so we are in line, and it's projected that they will begin the fixes for us February 2023. With that being said, the committee discussed there is some engagement, as the chair mentioned, in Memphis. There's 2 hospitals that have engaged and are interested in the pilot, as well as we have a hospital, another hospital in East Tennessee that's also very interested. The committee thought maybe it would be best before we begin like in-depth discussion and what that would look like until the fixes in February are implemented. That way we don't have to reteach, or if there's significant changes to have to go through that again. We work, Noelle and I work directly with Erlanger. They are absolutely great to work with. The attorney assigned to the pilot, as well as her assistant, they work well. We had a couple of little bugs with some onloading and things like that, but the support from the vendor has been very good. And so we were able to get those things fixed. They're very responsive.
Okay, let's recognize John Tarpley. Hi, John.
Hello, how are you? Sorry I was late.
That's okay.
It kept saying it was waiting to let me in. So happy new day, everybody.
Well, that's telling you something, John.
Yeah.
And so welcome, John. And so Dana, thank you. Real quickly, what's the difference between phase 1 and phase 2? What's the significant difference between those phases?
What I understand is phase 1 was literally the baby phase, the intro, where we worked with Erlanger and came up with what the platform is going to look like, and then work out kinks with Erlanger. Now that it was successful, and I believe part of phase 2 was, did we want a phase 2? And so the committee as a whole and the stakeholders were like, we should move into a phase 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, the goal is to make this independent of the AOC and this to be a statewide program. And so with that being said, we need to invite, of course, new hospitals and whatever the platform needed, build that out. So that's what phase 2 looks like.
Okay. Yeah, because it has, for those of you that some of you I know are doing the med debts, it has been from Erlanger's standpoint a very successful program, and it's helped, I think, a great deal of our fellow citizens deal with this significant problem. And so that is great. So, well, let's turn, thank you, Dana, for that report. I appreciate it. Let's turn to committee reports. Cindy, do you have anything to report on the communications committee?
Actually, I do not today, but thank you.
Okay, and so the Rule and Policy Committee is Betsy. Betsy is not here, but we got it filed for the change in Rule 31. Justice Lee, what's the calendar, the schedule now about it?
We put that out for a comment, and I think comments are due soon. I think the deadline is soon on that. We will probably consider that at our February or March business conference meeting, depending on the timing and getting the comments assembled into the court. So by the next meeting, I should have a report on that for you,
Okay.
if not before.
Okay. And so then Sarah is not here. I know that Dana, you were reporting back to me. There's still a discussion about this bulk data and the IT. I know that's going to be an ongoing discussion. Also, Linda, I think that you and John both wanted some more information on one of the other suggested changes. And so as a result, then there are still things brewing in the committee. Let's put it that way, being discussed.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Grievance committee, Dana, no grievances. That's good.
Nope, not this quarter.
Okay. Ethics advisory, Rich is not here. And so as a result, but there's been no request for an ethics opinion. Wow. Okay. And so, all right, well, let's turn to the training and education committee. Marcus Rudolph, I'm going to turn it over to you and your committee.
Thank you, Steve. Happy New Year, everybody. Good morning. On behalf of the Training Education Committee, it's an honor to be the chair again. And we're going to go over a couple points on the report. I would like to echo Mr. Shields' thank yous to the entire AOC staff. I know that all the commissioners appreciate all the hard work that you guys do. And I also like to send out a thanks to Ms. Linda Seeley and Mr. Chuck Hill for their excellent work, especially in regards to updating the all the information in regards to domestic violence in the training. So well done by both of you two. First point in regards to the report are the training providers. There are 17 approved Rule 31 trainers. The fourth quarter reports were due December 31st of last year. As of December 22nd of last year, there were only 2 providers that have submitted quarterly reports. So that's 25 persons participated in the training. Any comments or questions about that? Okay. The second point, and I will yield to Ms. Dana Schmidt once I'm done in regards to an update. The second point is the 2023 ADRC workshop planning. The committee met on December 14th of last year. Commission Chair, Mr. Steve Shields, opened up the discussion in regards to workshop venue, where we're going to have the workshop this year. I, as the chair, requested the AOC staff for assistance in scouting the venues and providing information to come back to the committee. So I'll yield to Ms. Schmidt in regards to any updates that she and the staff have found.
I have, in the past, the commission had used Lipscomb as the host for the annual workshop. I have reached out to someone at Lipscomb, and we are working to get the details, but they have confirmed that they are available to provide space on October 13th. That would be Friday the 13th. We've had 2 this year. I mean, I was like, how do we have 2 in 1 year? But so it'll be really easy for me to remember from here on out. It is available. I have sent over, my predecessor, John Jefferson, did a wonderful job in documenting all the planning before. So he kind of had a setup memo with chairs, tables, IT, all of that. I sent that over. They're working on that. So the long of the short is that October the 13th is available at Lipscomb for the workshop, should the committee and the commission want to utilize Lipscomb for the meeting. It is available.
Yeah, Dana, let me, if I can, let me make just a couple of additional comments. First off, Belmont was a very gracious host and really appreciated their hosting the program. Is that the issue that I understood, we got very good reviews. Again, the issue was the IT part of it. And that is that people were having difficulty hearing and that sort of thing. And so that's why I think that we started looking in toward Lipscomb. The October 13th date occurs during their fall break, so that we don't have that issue of parking and that sort of thing. And so that's the other thing. The committee is going to be looking at this. They're going to be deciding on what to recommend to the commission in one of three things. Either it's all in person, it's all via Zoom, or like we had last year, hybrid, getting together and then also in Zoom. And so we'll be talking about that. But the only thing with Belmont was simply the IT. They were very gracious. They were very helpful. They went above and beyond the call of duty and really appreciate what they did. But we've been long-term with Lipscomb, and so we thought we'd see what they said. And thank you, Dana, for bringing us up to speed. And that's going to go back to your committee then, Marcus Rudolph. And so anyway, that's the workshop. If you do in the meantime have any thoughts or whatever, feel free to go ahead and share.
Excuse me.
Yeah, excuse you. Okay.
May I interrupt? No, I'm sorry. Are we locked in on October 13 as the date?
No, I don't think we're locked in. The reason for that date, Mark, is that if you get any other date at if we have it at Lipscomb, the parking is absolutely awful. That is a date in which they are on fall break.
I was just trying to calendar. So if it was already locked in, I was just going to calendar it.
I think you can pencil it in.
Okay. That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Marcus Rudolph, go on with your report.
All right. And the last of the report are the training waiver requests. We have two up for today. I'll read the information, and then for each one, we'll go to a vote in regards to the committee's recommendation. The first applicant is applicant 159828. That's attachment number 7 for the commissioner. Applicant is applying for a dual listing, meaning civil and family listing with a domestic violence designation. The applicant is seeking a waiver of Rule 31 training requirements pursuant to Rule 31 14D 3. The committee met and reviewed the training waiver request. The documentation produced by the applicant was sufficient to find the applicant is a registered neutral in the state of Georgia in the areas of civil mediation, family mediation, domestic violence. That's good. And in addition, Georgia reported that the applicant is in good standing with disciplinary history, which is also good. So the committee reviewed this, and we came to a vote in regards to approving this waiver. So is there a motion by the commissioners for a vote in regards to for the committee's recommendation of approval for applicant 159828?
So moved. Second.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. All parties in favor of approving applicant 159828 for dual listing with a domestic violence designation, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right, the last applicant. Now I'll speak about this applicant, and I'll yield to any comments by Ms. Schmidt or Mr. Shields after I speak about this applicant's information. Applicant 161210, that's attachment 8. The applicant is applying for a dual listing with a domestic violence designation. The applicant is seeking a waiver of Rule 31 training requirements pursuant to Rule 31, Section 14D1. For consideration of a waiver, the applicant produced a course completion document indicating completion of a LLM in dispute resolution. In addition, the applicant also provided course syllabus detailing courses taken from summer 2020 to spring 2022. The courses had been completed within 6 years of the application date. After review, the committee determined that the documentation provided by the applicant was not sufficient to rely upon when determining if Rule 31 waiver requirements were met. Thus, when we talked about it, the committee voted, and we recommend to defer the waiver request until the documentation is provided. To elaborate just a little bit more, it seemed like there was some confusion by the applicant in regards to why the information sent was not sufficient enough. And then after back and forth with AOC staff, to the best of my recollection, was asking for further explanation of why the information would correlate. And there was no explanation on behalf of the applicant. And so based on the information that we had, we as a committee decided to defer until we got more satisfactory information. So Ms. Schmidt, was there anything else besides what I stated that you would like to add to that?
No,
Mr. Shields?
No, Dana, do you have anything you want to add before I make my comment?
no, I believe what Mr. Rudolph stated to the commission is an accurate description of what entailed or what occurred during the review process for this applicant.
Mr. Shields, go right ahead.
Yeah. So, I've taken a look at this, and here's what I did and what I'm going to suggest that we do regarding this particular applicant is that because obviously it's an LLM from Pepperdine, obviously there's no question about the quality of that program, but obviously the rule, this particular waiver requires that someone provide us with details regarding whether they have met each one of the course curriculum requirements set forth in the content and training programs for Rule 31. And I see an email in which Dana said, please list in 14C beside each one, identify the particular item. And so I don't know where the confusion is here, but here's what I did, Chair, is that I picked up the 100 and some page document with my yellow magic marker, and I went through and I was able to identify 10. There are 2 that I have a question about. The reason I picked up my yellow magic marker is because I've seen previous applicants do that with their material, in which they've said, here, item number 1, item number 2, some require some interpretation. So here's Dana Schmidt. I'm going to ask you to do this. Will you reach out to the applicant and tell that applicant if the applicant would like to contact me, to please give him my contact information, and I will walk through the document. I did it for general civil. I know there's a request for family, but I think that we just need to stop going in a circle here. And I think that, I can walk them through this process. Will you do that, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Marcus, what's next?
Well, that's it. Well, what we need to do is just in regards to a vote in regards to the committee's recommendation. So is there a motion to approve the committee's recommendation to deferment in regards to this waiver request on this applicant?
I'll move to defer.
I'll second Chuck's.
Thank you. All parties in favor all parties in favor of this applicant, what is the applicant's number? 161210, training waiver request to be deferred until proper information or documentation is provided. Please say aye or raise your hand. All opposed? Okay, so moved. And Mr. Chair, Mr. Shields, that is the conclusion of my report.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And again, on each one of the committees, I know that you guys do a great job. It's not your job to go through and to try to pick everything out. Otherwise, should be, that's why we ask applicants to provide us with the information. And so great job. I appreciate your work. Okay. Lori is not here today. And so who is stepping in for Lori on the committee?
I can read her report for the committee.
Okay.
Do you want me to go ahead and do that?
Yeah. Please
Okay.
go ahead, Chuck. I'm
So
sorry.
there were a total of I get this up, I'm in the wrong spot here. 69 new applications during this period. The committee met on December the 19th to review those applications. 62 of the 69 are recommended for approval without dispute, and that's in attachment 6. There are 2 recommended for approval pending outcome of the commission vote as to their training waiver request. Applicant 159828, which is attachment 7, is applying for a dual listing with domestic violence designation. The committee met on December 19th to review the application. The committee accepted the training waiver and found the applicant had met all application requirements. Just went to Rule 31. Committee recommends approval of the application. So again, that's 159828. Could there be a recommendation for acceptance of that recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor, say aye and raise your hand, please.
Aye.
Okay, it is accepted. Moving on to application 161210, which is attachment number 8. The applicant is applying for a civil listing. Committee met on September 27th to review the application. Committee accepted the training waiver recommendation and found the applicant has not met all of the application requirements. Committee recommends that we defer the application until we get more information or it's determined that they do in fact meet the requirements. Can we have a committee vote on whether or not to accept that recommendation?
I move to accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
And all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. That's accepted. Thank you. That concludes those 2. There are 5 which presented with a disciplinary history, which was reviewed by the committee. Applicant 161571, which is attachment number 9, is applying for civil listing. Applicant has actions noted on the applicant's law license disciplinary history. The applicant provided a response to assist the committee in making a recommendation. The committee reviewed the details of that response and determined that there was sufficient information provided to determine that the applicant is suitable for the practice of mediation, and the committee recommends approval of that application.
I move to approve.
Second.
Is there a vote for approval?
Aye.
Okay, all parties have voted to approve. Moving on to applicant 161781, which is attachment number 7. This applicant is applying for family listing. The applicant has formal actions noted in the law license disciplinary history. The program manager requested a response from the applicant to assist the committee in making a recommendation. The applicant did not provide the response. The committee determined there was not sufficient evidence provided to determine the applicant's suitability for practice of mediation. Committee recommends deferring the application pursuant to Rule 31 until the response is provided as requested.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of the committee.
I'll second.
And is there a vote?
Aye.
Okay, it's approved to defer that application. Moving on to applicant 161521, which is attachment number 11. The applicant is applying for family listing, has formal actions noted on the applicant's law license disciplinary history. The applicant provided a response to the assist the committee in making a recommendation. The committee reviewed the details of that response and determine that there is sufficient information provided to determine the applicant is suitable for the practice of mediation. Committee recommends to approve this application.
Move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
And vote. All right. Thank you. That's approved. Applicant 161234, attachment number 12. This applicant is applying for family listing. Applicant has formal actions noted on the applicant's law license disciplinary history. The applicant provided a response to this to assist the committee in making a recommendation. Committee reviewed the details of the disciplinary actions and determined there was sufficient information provided to determine the applicant suitable for the practice of mediation. Committee recommends to approve the application.
Move to approve the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
And the vote. All right, thank you. That applicant is approved for the application is approved. The last one is applicant 161835, attachment number 13. This applicant is applying for civil listing and is currently listed as a family mediator. The applicant has formal actions noted on the applicant's law license disciplinary history from the Tennessee Bar Association. The applicant provided a response to assist the committee. Committee reviewed the details of the disciplinary actions and determined there was sufficient information provided that the applicant is suitable for practice of mediation, and committee recommends to approve this application. May we have
Move to approve the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
and may we have a vote? Thank you. The application is approved, and that concludes the recommendations of the Credentials Committee.
Well, Chuck Hill, we have 62 other applicants though in the listings here that's been recommended for approval.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. I think we need a, yep, let me turn it back to you.
Those had no issues, and the staff reviewed those, found that they were acceptable, and recommends that they be approved.
Move the recommendations of the committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
And the vote?
Aye.
Thank you, and thank the staff for a work on quite a volume of applications.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work, and we really appreciate their getting things ready for us to have a simple up or down vote on these. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck Hill. And so, gosh, we've done this in pretty efficient way today. And so I appreciate everybody doing it in such an efficient way. Again, I thank the staff. I want to thank each one of the committees. Each one of these committees, I get a chance to attend almost every one of them. You put in a lot of thought, you put in a lot of work, and I look forward to working with all of you this coming year. I appreciate it. We are going to have in the next few weeks a sort of a planning meeting. That's not our regular meeting. And so if you'll be looking out for a notice that I'm going to try to have a planning meeting of all the commission. And so with that, then, of course, then I know there will be other times to say goodbye, Justice Lee, but gosh, we're going to miss you.
Terribly kind. Thank you.
Is there any other business before the commission?
Should I bring up my
I'm
concerns
sorry,
here?
Linda Seeley. Yeah, there is one other business. Yeah, there is another
Okay.
piece of business. Thank you,
Thank
Linda, for reminding me.
Sure, of course. I bring this to your attention because a gentleman that I knew who used to practice law in Jackson moved to Georgia and is now returned to West Tennessee contacted me about his concerns about being delisted for failing to submit his mediator listing application in a timely fashion. And as he went through kind of what his saga was, he indicated to me that he was unaware that he had been delisted until he went onto the website to input all of the mediations he had done. He'd been holding himself out as a Rule 31 listed mediator, had been listed for a very long time. And when he found out, he contacted the staff. The staff did, I believe the staff did an investigation. And what they found was that they had the incorrect email address for him in their database. Now, he indicated to me that he had actually provided the AOC staff with the correct email address, but the notices, the numerous notices that we all receive reminding us that it's time to reapply were not received by him. Consequently, he did not reapply, and he was delisted. And his concern is that the AOC had the incorrect email address for him, despite the fact that he had provided a correct email address, that he did not find out that he had been delisted until after he went on to the website to submit his mediations. And I know that his big concern is, he's been holding himself out as a listed mediator. He's been conducting mediations. This is his primary source of income. And now he's being required to retake the 40-hour training. What he would like is some reconsideration of what the circumstances are for him. So that's kind of where I left it. I did not bring this up with the staff. I feel uncomfortable bringing this to the attention of the AOC because this is somebody I have known personally and professionally for a very long time. So I did bring it up with Steve, and Steve Steve and I've talked about this a little bit. I would like to ask if the credentialing committee would meet to consider the circumstances of this particular situation, so that at the very least, this mediator will feel like he's had some due process from the commission.
Yeah, Linda, you did bring it to my attention. And so first off, let me say this. Hi, Sarah Fiegel. Happy New Year.
Welcome.
So in any event, Linda, what I understand is that you would like to defer this person's request for reconsideration to the Credentials Committee for their decision as to how this should be handled. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Well, I moved that. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we'll be scheduling then a credentialing committee meeting. Dana, if you could put out some dates then for the Credentials Committee, and we can get together and talk about that. I think the one thing that Dana asked me to do, I'm not sure we think that there was any confusion, but there is a news that goes out. And Dana asked me to draft then a disclaimer, you might say, that it's the responsibility. And so when you see the news at the very beginning, there's going to be a notice. I'll send it to all the commissioners. Dana, will you send to the commission then that statement? And so that they can see it.
Should I reach out to this mediator and say anything, or just leave it to the credentialing committee? Because I'd really rather not be involved in this.
I think, Linda, I think the order of business would simply be this. Dana, will you ask? Here's my suggestion. Will you ask this individual to submit something in writing as to his request for reconsideration. And when it's received, it will be submitted to the credentialing committee. Is that a good order of business?
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, all right. Wow. Is there a motion to adjourn?